Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honoured guests. It's about 5 p.m. in the afternoon, more or less 3 years ago, and I'm just regaining consciousness. I'm in a very comfortable clinic bed, and even better, there's a rather attractive nurse who's helping me with the drip. All in all, given the circumstances, it's not too bad. What's fascinating is the disorientation. When you undergo surgery, it's like mentally wading through mud, trying to acknowledge all the hours that you've lost and are not going to get back. Sort of like waking up without the getting refreshed bit, usually. But on this occasion, it's a little bit different. Perhaps because it's all behind me. Perhaps because I've just left a job that I've absolutely hated, even though it's December 2013 and jobs aren't really growing on trees. Or perhaps, possibly, because for a while longer I get to be in the place I like best, the place between places, and for that my heart fills with gratitude. Truth to tell, I love it here. Anytime, for example, I'm in a car or in a plane and we hit the road or taxi down the runway, I feel as light as a feather. The best writing I never did is at such times. At that moment, the voice in my head is clear, and it's playful and witty and wise, and my heart fills with blessedness and gratitude. As grateful as I feel right here in this clinic bed, 3 years past this past Wednesday. But the thing is, it's not gratitude. It's actually love. Is it the meds? No, nothing like that. Nothing like me. If you know me, you know I'm a pretty unsentimental kind of guy. I do frustration, I do anger, I like to think I do wit. Love? I tend to reserve that for the excellence, for the arts, for virtue. But perhaps in the place between places, the ordinary rules don't apply. Somewhere out there, I hear the nurse's voice. She has kind, careful hands, and we're getting on famously. But then this, I don't know, something flows out of me and touches her. And she begins to talk about her life, about her jealous boyfriend, about the things that she'd like to do for herself. Innocent things like hobbies or pastimes, things that would make him insecure. I try to listen, but really, I'm holding a space, a place between places, which will disappear the moment she leaves the room. Perhaps this is what people who are spiritual mean when they talk about the heart of the universe. A taste of timeless perfection, where you don't have to fight, and you don't have to fix things, and there's nothing to mourn, and there's a sheer weightlessness that comes from having been momentarily cancelled out. Well, fast forward 3 years on, and here we are almost at the end of 2016. More conflict, relentless violence, further corruption and suffering and oppression. A collective waking up, not once, but repeatedly, to news that rocked us, shocked us, shattered us. Some would say this is hyperbole. Others would say, but it happens all the time. I should be myself blasé about these things. I work, after all, for the news. But that's not the point. The point is, how do you find that feeling in the place between places at such dispiriting moments? Well, before I tell you what I think it might be, let's consider, do you need a special passport? Do you have to practice yoga? Must you meditate on a mountaintop or turn vegan or fruitarian? Wouldn't it be nice if there were perhaps a different way? Before I give you my thoughts on this, let me just confess that I felt that love feeling before, when I was watching the opening ceremony of the London Olympic Games in 2012, choreographed and directed by the inimitable Danny Boyle. The colours and the joy were infectious. The music and the performances were sublime. The audacity of combining pop culture, history, theatre, and the highest levels of sportsmanship, well, unforgettable. And just when I thought it couldn't be topped, the Olympians themselves started to march, country by country, as tradition dictates, all waving, all savouring that moment that was a fulfilment of a promise they'd made themselves over hours and hours and hours of discipline, practiced over and again. The mighty marched with the meek. Afghanistan was there. Iraq was there. Palestine was there. Syria was there. And as I watched those shining faces, I felt love. The best kind. Love that's generous and selfless and compassionate and triumphant. Deconstructing it, I realized I hadn't just been swept away by the accomplishments on display, but that I'd momentarily surrendered my limited identity. And that's what I think gets you to that summer land. The moment, however brief, when we put aside our long, long list of responsibilities, our perceived failures, that sick, corroding disappointment at all the things that we've left undone or are never going to accomplish. You're there. The moment that you set aside, however temporarily, all the roles that are imposed on us, although we undertake with the endless catalogue of expectations, you're there. And so, with 2017 almost upon us, I would like not to set myself goals, but to see how many roles this year I can discard. Because I want to be not just inspired, but to merge with what is elevated and truly good. I want to spend longer and longer in that place where there's no border police and no passports to stamp and no background checks and no documents to surrender. This coming year, I'd like so much to come home. Madame Toastmasters.